Hey guys, Harry here from Aeroo. Today we're down on the beach and we're going to be walking you through how to set up and use your Aeroo Pro for drone fishing. Let's get into it. So I'll quickly walk through what we're going to be using today. We've got a super simple setup. So at the end here we've just got our sinker, followed by 2 hooks. Then down the rest we've got our leader line, which is running up to a 3-way swivel. Off one of the swivels we've got our safety clip, and then the rest of the line we've got our drop loop at the end, and that's going to attach to our drone. And then running off the other end of the swivel we've just got our main line, which is going to our rod. So super basic setup today. There's obviously a lot of other ways you can do this, but we're just going to show you a super easy way to get you up in the air. So next thing we're going to do is we're going to go get our drone and put it on the landing pad over here, which we've already set up. So when you're putting your drone down on your landing pad, you always want to have the drone set up against where the wind's coming. So it's upwind, so today we've got a southerly which is coming from this direction. We've got our rod set up on this way. So if the drone does fly up with our line, it's not going to be coming into contact with the rod over there. Next thing you want to note is it's always good to have the drone's camera and the gimbal facing where you're going to be casting. So we're going to go ahead and put the drone down with the camera facing out to sea. Alright, so now we've got our drone in position. Let's go ahead and connect our phone and pair the drone. So first thing we're going to do is turn on the drone. So to turn on the drone, we've got the button here on the top. We're going to press it once, like a short press, and then we're going to hold it down. So short press, long hold, and we'll have the four lights here lighting up, and we'll get a nice little sound as well. After we've done that, we'll do the same with the remote. So a short press on the power button and then hold it, and we'll get a beep and all the 4 blue buttons lighting up to know that it's on. Next thing we're going to do is plug in our phone. So if we pull out the tray at the bottom here, we'll be able to put in our phone. It's important to remember the port being on the right side where the cord's coming down. Cool. And once our phone's in there, we'll just plug in our cable at the end. Depending on what phone you have, there'll be a few different cables, just so make sure you've got the right one in there. So now we're all connected, we're ready to open up the Aeroo Fly App. So we go into our phone, find the app, we'll select the device. We can see here we've got the Aeroo Pro. We'll enter the device, and now we're on the live view page, which will show the camera of the drone and what we're seeing once we're up and flying. Okay, so now we've got our drone and our remote all connected. We're ready to attach our line to the drone. So let's grab our drop loop and head over to the rod. So today we're going to be leaving our bail arm open. You can use the drag as well depending on the conditions, but today we're going to be leaving ours open. So now that's open, we're going to walk over to our drone and connect the drop loop. So now we're ready to attach our drop loop to the drone. First thing we're going to do is flip over the drone. So at the very top here, or bottom, we've got a button which is actually going to open and close the release mechanism. So if I just press like that, you'll see the release mechanism opening and closing. So now we're just going to get our drop loop in there. I'm going to put the drone down to make it a bit easier. And we're just going to press the button, close off the release pin, and now our line's all secure at the bottom of the drone. So we'll flip it back over. And now we're ready for the next steps. So today we're going to be using some pilchards as bait. The Aeroo Pro has a payload of up to 1 kilogram. Obviously these are super light, but we recommend starting off with something small as a beginner, just getting a feeling for the drone, getting it up in the air. But obviously when you get a bit more advanced, you can use some bigger baits if you're targeting sharks and other things. But today we'll be starting off with something super light and simple just to get you going. All right, so almost ready to fly, but before we do, we'll do a few last minute checks. We'll go over to our rod, we'll double check that our bail arm's still open. We've got our line running across here. We've moved our bait back behind the drone, so we've got a bit of a triangle formation, just as a safety precaution to help with the wind and the line. And the last thing we like to do is before we take off, we like to put the line under the foot of the drone just to keep it out of the way even more. And the last thing to double check and remember is to make sure that our drone is facing out towards where we're going to be flying. So now we're behind the drone, we've double checked everything, we're ready to fly. We can see on the app here, we've got ready to fly up the top. Now all we need to do is hit this button and we're ready for takeoff. We are ready. You can see the drone's up in the air. We're just going to get it hover for a little bit. Should hover up about a couple meters in the air. We don't need to touch anything on the sticks yet. We can just let the drone do its thing. So when we're ready to go, we're just going to use the left joystick here. That's going to take our drone straight up so we can get our bait off the ground. And we're going to take it up about 20-30 meters. We're in a pretty good position now. Our bait's off the ground, we're up in the air, and now we're ready to fly out to sea. So let's start by moving the drone with the right joystick. That's going to take it forward, out to sea, and where we're going to drop our bait. So super easy. We're just holding the right joystick forward. And that's going to take us out to where we want to drop our bait. So we're at about 170 meters right now. I reckon we're going to drop this one about 300 or 400 meters out. Alright, so now we can see the drone's out to sea. We're at about the 300 to 400 meter mark. The next thing we want to do is use the wheel on the back of the remote here. That's going to turn our camera down so we can see exactly where we want to drop the bait. So this is really useful when we're targeting some fish in some clear waters. We've got our live feed here, so we've got a really clear picture of exactly what we're seeing out there. And now we're ready to drop our bait. So now we're ready to drop the bait. We've got our drop button on the back right here. So when we're ready to drop, we'll just press this. And we can see the bait dropping down now. So now that we've dropped our bait, all we need to do now is press the auto return to home button on the remote.
Return to home.
And the drone will start flying back to us. Now we can tend to our rod, we can put the remote down, and the drone will land within a meter of where we set it off from. It was close. I reckon it's off. It's off. Oh, go on! Little flatty. So you got ourselves a little flatty. Obviously super small, we'll chuck him back. Ooh. Off he goes. Alright, so that's it guys. Hope you got some good information about drone fishing for your first time or your next adventure. We've designed Aeroo Pro to be super easy to fly, good for everyone, and just easy to get up in the air and catching some fish. We'll catch you next time.